Good evening, guys. Type of chat if you guys can hear me. And I'm going to get started for today. Crazy day. Lots of running happened. Missed out on most of it, but that's okay. As you guys know, Trump won the election last night, and the market loved that. So we're at all. Sorry, I'm going to cough just a little bit. By the way, I don't know if Chris picks up my coughing, but if you guys hear me, apologize for coughing in the recording. Just pretend there's coughing happening. Anyways, ran hard and all last night. And, of course, I bet on the election, but I was really annoyed that I completely forgot. I'm like, you know what? I could trade futures. I didn't realize until it was over, and the freaking ES ran 200 points without me. So that was a missed opportunity there. But regardless, I'm going to review my futures trades from today. And as per usual, we start at the second hour of market open. However, today was a little different. Now, I don't do, as you guys know, I do my futures reviews Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And yesterday, well, as you guys know, Monday was terrible. Yesterday, I had another trade miss by one singular tick. One singular tick. So, to be completely honest, my psychology wasn't doing too hot. Was not doing too hot at all. And you know what? I think that just kind of led into like a lack of patience. By the way, this demand should be broken. It's kind of glitched right now. Uh, Kind of led to a lack of patience. I'm just gonna remove supply and demand at the just hide it because I didn't use it today. A lack of patience today. And I ended up taking a futures trade that, for the first time in a while I traded options and futures at the same time. And it was an error. It was me breaking my rules. I to be completely honest, I've been doing this morning was the sixth bright green, great options morning in a row. First hour of price action was great. And the last good day I had trading futures was the 23rd of October. So 2 weeks. I've been, little under 2 weeks. I've been dealing with second hour shenanigans, which is just red by one trade or green by one trade on average each day. So my patience has naturally been wearing thin, but also I've taken my foot off the gas as far as doing my psychological resets in my personal trade reviews I do by myself. And I just kind of said screw it today and broke my rules. I wasn't as disciplined. Now I did trade options, and one of the trades I entered was SPX puts here, and I entered QQQ puts here. But I said, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna enter NQ shorts as well, breaking my rules. But again, not as disciplined. I'm just kind of sick of it. So yeah, I took this massive trade. Started out my day very green because of it. Boom, sold right there. And then I waited. Now I could have kept trading. I was bullish for NQ to get to new high of day. I did want to enter, but I'm like, I already broke my rules once. I'm not going to break them again, right? I'm going to wait until the second hour starts. That's kind of the commitment I have, and I'm going to wait to trade. Unfortunately, that started just a little bit too late because this right here would have been my long entry for NQ longs. This was beautiful bullish consolidation, just under a major pivot. We had lower lows with buying wicks, a nice strong first leg, and NQ wasn't looking super weak or anything like that, and the PT was a pretty decent distance away. This would have been a really nice trade that I would have loved to take, but again, it was just a little bit too early. I wasn't ready to trade yet, so I missed out on it. That would have made me money. But this is pretty much where I started right here. I'm like, okay, great. Here's what I'm working with. NQ's a new high of day. And you know what? I'm still bullish. And the reason I'm bullish is because, well, for the same reason I was just bullish on NQ. ES looks like it's bullishly consolidating below a major pivot, which is high of day. I'm like, okay, well, NQ's stronger than ES, and I'm bullish for ES to get to new high of day. I'm potentially looking at longs up here on the NASDAQ. And it's pretty rare that, I don't like entering long at high of day. I don't like entering short at high of days, especially when I don't have any nearby PTs. And I don't have any nearby PTs on the NASDAQ. So I didn't really want to take this trade. I was a little hesitant. So I waited one more candle. Small consolidation. I wanted another wave. If this did something like that and formed a flag, kind of like what it did right here, I'll take it. So that's what I was looking for to enter. We get this red candle. I'm like, I took my finger off the trigger real quick because NQ got a little larger of a red candle than ES did. And it got another red candle. I'm like, okay, this is good. This is really good. Because now that we're pulling back, if we invalidate a majority of this pullback, I can get triggered in and my average will be a little bit better. Now I'm going to pause here just for a second. It's dark in my room. I completely forgot to open up my journal, so let me do that real quick so I can follow along appropriately. But keep in mind, I cheated today. I started up one trade. Let me see when I enter this. Okay. So I'm still kind of eyeballing longs. And, we start hesitating a little bit. I'm like, okay, it might be getting there. Still tough to say. I need ES to come to here if I'm going to take longs. So one more green candle, I think I'll pull the trigger. And we get this candle. And I'm like, you know what? That is now a bearish liquidity sweep on NQ. If this is the second leg, it's invalidated a majority of this second leg, making me naturally bearish for the nearest point of liquidity, which would be here, with a stop loss of here. And I said right when that candle, because the candle wasn't red like that the entire time, it kind of dropped in the last 20 seconds like that. And I said, that's not a terrible trade. That's not a bad trade. The problem is I was completely not ready to take shorts. This is a trade that just showed up in a single candle. Really I had 30 seconds to make a decision on a direction that I had no plans on going. And on top of that, we can zoom out on ES a little bit. What pattern does it look like? An inverse head and shoulders. So ES is potentially an inverse head and shoulders. It can go up at any point. It's not just that I wasn't confident enough in this trade, but I literally didn't have enough time to figure out what I needed to do. It wasn't a black and white trade. It was very gray area. It just showed up. I had a lot of conflicting analysis. It's going against the general trend. Sure, it just swept bearish liquidity, but ES looks like it's putting in an inverse head and shoulders. I was unable to make a decision within the 20 seconds, and typically, if I hesitate too much like that, I tend to sit out. Because me sitting out and missing the trade hurts my psychology less than me hesitating, jumping in, and then losing, and then needing to go long, like I was supposed to do in the beginning. So I called out this trade, but I just couldn't pull the trigger. I only had about 20 seconds to pull it, and I just couldn't pull it due to the conflicting analysis. Of course, in one candle it hit. Some of you guys did end up taking it, but I missed that one. And it is what it is. So now I'm watching for a potential bounce. And you know what? That's bearish. It's starting to look bearish. And the beginning of the next candle on ES opened red. And I was looking to enter shorts based on this baby bear flag on ES. But on NQ, because NQ is weaker. But as you guys know, I typically enter trades within the last 10 seconds. But in the first 20 seconds of the candle, it dumped like that. So finger came off the trigger. And luckily it did, because that kind of turned into a reversal candle. We got a big volume spike on NQ and a big buying wick on both ES and NQ. I'm thinking, okay, maybe the head and shoulders starts happening. But I also noticed that, you know what? We may be breaking the 38.2% fib. And as you guys know, if you guys know your fib rules, once you break the 38.2% fib, the 61.8% is typically the PT that's most likely to hit after that break. So we bounce, and I'm like, okay. With that knowledge, and with NQ weaker than ES, it's bouncing not as hard as ES, and it dropped further than ES did. If this bounce invalidates, I'm willing to go short. Possibly all the way to the 61.8, which is really far away. Probably wouldn't do it. Really to this PT or this PT. But if we keep bouncing and ES is stronger, I'm okay entering long for a new high of day. So 2 decent trade setups are forming right now. I'm waiting to see what's going to happen. And this candle happens. Now, I entered NQ. It was a little bit weaker, you know, it kind of evened out. But I entered NQ. However, I didn't go all the way to the furthest away PT possible. I didn't. And I'm gonna throw back up supply and demand real quick, just for this one. I don't need it for this one. You see, it's being weird. Um, so I entered NQ here, except I entered it at the very beginning of the next candle. I just wanted to see that buying wick invalidated. It's one of the few exceptions where I will enter before the candle closes, and I enter based on the last candle, but before the next candle closed. And I had a choice to make. For me, the 61.8 was just too far away. And, you know, it really came down to these two really baby pivots for me. I had this one here. I had this one here. The big pivots are down here. This one, and the biggest one is this one, new low of day on NASDAQ. And the major ones on ES are here and here. And we have a baby one right here. So I'm obviously leaning bearish for ES to get to this pivot because it barely missed it. Like, okay, well, NQ looks like it's going to be a bit weaker than ES. We'll see what happens. Because I'm fine going to this further away PT. I can also see myself going to just this PT, which is a lot closer. It really just depends on how it's dropping. It's looking like it's trying to get in buying wicks. I'll see. Well, it got another candle, and it got another buying wick, and what do you know? NQ starting to be stronger than ES. ES had a larger red body there. NQ looks like it bounced a little bit further. I'm like, all right, well, it looks like it's struggling just to get down right now. It looks like it's fairly likely to make a lower low and then bounce. I'm going to roll with the nearer PT, and that's what I did. So I rolled with the nearer PT. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'll go for the nearer one. And yeah, NQ was stronger than ES. ES was getting down a little bit more, and it was looking not great. The thing is, though, ES had a perfect double bottom, which helps, but NQ, again, just swept lower lows again, put in a bull hammer. It was looking bullish. I wouldn't be surprised if I stopped out of this trade, and we started popping up. And we got this big green candle. I'm like, all right, well, you know, I'll re-enter if it comes back down, but if it shoots up more, I will enter longs up here-ish for new high day. But I got lucky and short stepped up and dumped this trade. Now, it did end up continuing to the further away PTs, but I didn't really care. You know, the analysis behind choosing the closer PT was 100% correct. It looked like it wanted to bounce a lot, and it actually did bounce before it got to my closer PT. It's by pure luck that it missed my PT by only like 2 points, or missed my stop loss by only like 2 points. So it wasn't bad analysis at all. You know, some of you guys chose the further away PT. It was kind of a tough decision, but obviously by the time that candle happened, I didn't really get to choose. It just happened. So that was my first trade of the day, and it was a win. Was very nice. And by this point, ES has invalidated a vast majority of the drop, and so has NQ. So I'm starting to speculate, yeah, I'm leaning bearish for new low of day, right? Now, realistically, low of day is pretty far away, okay? I don't think it's likely to just drop right to low of day. I think it's likely to bounce first. Plus, I am running a risk here. NQ could potentially be a crazy large head and shoulders. That's a risk. But for me, I'm thinking, okay, where is it more likely to bounce? Well, if it gets to here, it's probably just going to get to low a day. So I'm thinking, you know what? It may bounce out of this demand. So for me, I'm looking to re-enter short as a scalp trade to that demand. You know, it makes sense. Let me look at the time I entered that trade. Okay. So I'm kind of waiting. I'm waiting for a bounce, and I need that bounce to invalidate, and I'll allow myself to trigger back in. Here's the bounce. It's happening. And I wanted ES to bounce a little bit further. I wanted it to bounce outside of this little channel it's got going on right here. It would just help the odds of my trade. You know, the further up it goes, the more sell side liquidity it sweeps, the more momentum it's going to have coming down. That's kind of the hypothesis there. So I was going to enter on this candle, but of course I waited for the candle to get close to closing. I noticed the buying wick and I held off. And sure enough, I got triggered into NQ short again. NQ just dropped more than ES did. And I had a feeling I'm like, NQ's going to flip, like, do just enough to get me back into the NASDAQ, and then it's going to flip strong. But anyways, I did end up entering short on this trade. Pretty similar to the other trades, except I'm just going to demand. That's it. So I just went to demand. I think it was like right here, but whatever. I just went to demand. and just put together an okay risk to reward trade, something that wasn't unlikely to happen. Decent continuation trade. It looked all right. Started out well. NQ was nice and strong. I'm looking for ES to make a lower low. It did just make the lower low, but we're starting to get a buying wick. And now we're getting a small green candle. And now we're showing evidence of a short squeeze. We're starting to get selling wicks. And here's the problem. We bounced here, got slammed down right away. Bounce again, slam down. Bounce again, slam down. What are the chances it's going to do that a fourth time? So that's the problem here. I was hoping that it would bounce at demand. Didn't quite get there. So now I'm concerned that it's going to short squeeze, and it's looking like it's going to. You can't really see it, but each of these candles are starting off red, like shorts are entering, but the bulls are invalidating those shorts. If that keeps happening, you're going to have a lot of shorts in short trades that are consistently getting invalidated. It's looking like it may cause a short squeeze, but held the trade, wasn't invalidated, and by here, boom, it stopped out. I'm like, whatever. Now, I was really hoping that NQ would make a higher high because I'm still leaning bearish. I'm thinking I'm probably going to re-enter this trade. And it didn't make the higher high, unfortunately, and it did drop pretty much all the way back down. I was close to re-entering on this candle, but I let my candles close. It got a buying wick. I can wait another candle. And then boom, the short squeeze starting. I'm like, okay, uh, you know, that is actually a very bullish candle. The short squeeze is playing out. My minor pivots are like here and here on ES, and here on NQ. Well, when I have pivots pretty close together like this, and when I have momentum that's looking like this right here, I typically just go for the further away PT, because what are the chances it sweeps the first one without getting the second one? Pretty low. So I'm starting to actually eyeball longs, even though it's kind of risky because we have a potential head and shoulders. And I enter on this candle. I was looking for some kind of consolidation. This was it. We came up, we got a pullback, and we invalidated that pullback. A very micro consolidation formation. But it was good enough for me to hop in. So I actually hopped in right around this average. My PT was this right here, 774.25. And as you guys know, I'm trading half size pretty light lately. So I am trading on the micro chart. And this was right around my stop loss, just a majority of this large candle. This large candle is really what triggered this hypothesis. So if most of it invalidates, I'm okay stopping out. And then I'll be looking to go short again. Started out well and ended up getting to PT perfectly. Got right to PT, no issues. However, there was an issue. All you guys made money, but for some reason on the MNQ chart, my trade of 8 just didn't continue going. My PT was at 774 on trade of 8. NQ got to 775. And it didn't freaking fill me. So this counts as a win in my books. This is the first time since I've been half size, which has been about a month now, that has happened. So I didn't fill for some stupid reason. My PT didn't fill. And what do you know? Comes all the way back down. So you all did better than me today, because not only could you have taken this trade, I'm the only one that lost money on this trade. I got absolutely scammed. And it's a third day in a row I got scammed. It missed my PT by one tick on MNQ somehow, some way. I didn't put my PT further away. Just MNQ stopped going up, and ES got a little bit further, and it missed it. So third day in a row, my PT missed by one tick and stopped me out. Unlucky. But the big, I brushed it off. It's like, you know what? You guys made money on it. The hypothesis was valid. Everything happened. I just got freaking unlucky. And I was pissed. Don't get me wrong. I was pissed. But it's like, it could be worse. All of us could have missed by one tick, and we all could have just lost money. So, anyways, ES missed this minor pivot. And I'm still bullish for it to happen. So if it comes back up, I'm back in. And sure enough, that's what happens. I hop right back in. Looked like NQ was stronger. Hopped right back in right here. And yeah. It hit. And it was really frustrating, actually, because I did not enter that trade because I lost the previous one. I would have entered this trade no matter what, because ES missed the PT. So I should have had 2 wins right there. My day should have been 3 wins, 1 loss, not including the first trade of the day. So my day personally should have been 4 wins, 1 loss. If you guys took this trade, I called out 5 hypotheses, including this one. 4 hit PT, 1 didn't, but even the one that didn't started off green, which means it was a great entry. Yeah, I was pretty pissed off. So after that happened, my psychology was terrible because it's the third day in a row and I got scammed in some way. Third day in a row, I had a trade miss PT by a single tick in reverse and saw me out. And that time that time wasn't even fair. I just felt cursed. Um, so a mixture of that with a mix of, you know what, I haven't been disciplined lately. Like my discipline has slowly started going downhill as I became more impatient with the market. And that showed in my trading today. I entered a trade when I wasn't supposed to be trading. And here's the problem. Yeah, I made money on this. It was a great trade. I took it on options, but I took it out of a deteriorated psychology. I broke my rules, and God knows what would have happened if I stopped out of this trade. If I stopped out of this trade for a loss, which would have been a larger loss, do you think I would have stopped trading futures, knowing that I took like the first trade in a while outside of EC? You guys have like watched these accounts grow, and now we just took a loss that you guys didn't even see. The temptation to make that back, the temptation to lose that, but then make that back behind the scenes so it never happened. There's a good chance if I stopped out of that trade, I would have kept trading, which would have been dangerous. So that's why I'm not happy about it. Of course, the money is great, but the discipline has not been great. So too much risk for what I earned, even though what I earned was a lot on that trade. So I decided to call it a day. I'm like, you know what? I'm in a shitty mood from this me getting scammed right here. And yeah, I just called it a day. It was a really bright green day though. I mean, we're up 10K today. Of course, should have been more, but it is what it is. I did call out though that I'm bullish for new high of day. ES has been compressing this entire time. We already missed high day once on ES. If we come back anywhere near that top trend line, I'm very bullish for ES to clear new high of day. So I did give you guys that trade set up. And it did end up getting there. So I was bullish for it to happen. And you also got to keep in mind, if you look at the bigger time frame charts, this is a massive descending broadening wedge, which it's pretty much just a flag, right? A fancy flag. So this is a massive bull flag. One already played out right here. This could run, but the hour was up. I already broke my rules today. I wasn't trying to break more, so I called it a day. But sure enough, it did end up continuing up, and we broke to the upside. You can see it here. It took a little bit for it to get to that PT. So if you guys traded that, you guys were in there for a while. But we did end up continuing up, and we cleared all-time highs again on ES. Was beautiful. So there was a lot of money to be made today. Market was really easy. And look at the beautiful bullet. Like, I don't know what's up with the descending broadening wedges lately, but this is what a trending market looks like. Like, these periods of consolidation are fantastic entries for longs, and you got so many of them. It's fantastic. So, yeah, hopefully you guys that continue trading, you guys should have made a bunch of money. But yeah, my day was good, just not great discipline lately. So I'm gonna take the time tonight to psychologically reset and whatnot because not gonna lie, the second hour of trading, me just keep getting scammed like that is making my patience wear thin. But regardless, as far as the price action itself today, minus that stupid broker error that happened, it was good. I told you guys I'd kind of weather out the second hour through elections, and you know what? The last couple of days it's been good. Yesterday, yes, I got super unlucky. It was choppy at the beginning. Still missed a trade, a big win by a single tick, whatever. But the second half of yesterday's second hour of market trading, so the the fourth quarter of, what's it, an hour and a half. After the hour and a half mark of yesterday's open, it was really good. Volatility today during the entire second hour was great. So my hope is slowly coming back that I'm not going to need to switch the time that I decide to trade futures with you guys. It was really good price action. It just sucks that thing happened. But regardless, the hypotheses were good. 5 hypotheses, 4 played out, and the one that didn't was still a green to red trade, which means it had a great entry. So with that being said, does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns? Any of that? Diebold says, I'm sure are you asked all the time, why don't you trade options live? Yes, I am asked that all the time. And the answer is trading options and alerting them in my alert channel is already hell to do. Like I'm already speed typing and I'm just silent. Like it takes a lot of focus to enter my position, decide if I want to trade, then pull up the contracts to trade. Because it's not like futures. Futures easy. You just hop in and out. If I want to trade, I got to pull up the contracts that I want to trade, get those ready, copy and paste those contracts into my active trader. Then I got to type out the alert in my channel. Then I got to wait. Then I got to enter. Then I got to go back to my channel. Then I got to edit the price and then send it out. And from the time I enter to the time I send it out, it's usually only about like a 3 second delay. It's not because it's already typed in my channel, but there's a lot of steps that are involved. And then I got to manage the position. So not only do I have to watch the position and go through my thought processes of, okay, what am I going to do now? So not only do I have to figure that out, I have to type all that and send that in my channel and send my TA and all my thoughts. And there's no way in hell I can do all that and talk to you guys at the same time. So yeah, that just no. For the same reason that I no longer trade options and futures at the same time because I'm committed to alerting my options. It's great for you guys. It's good for the community. It's something I've been doing for years, so that I'm committed to doing that. But for the same thing, I tried trading options, alerting my options, and trading futures at the same time, which is, by the way, easier than talking and alerting and trading options at the same time because it takes less time than talking does, right? Uh, but I've blown 20 PAs multiple times over doing that. I've lost so much money on futures doing that I'm like, you know what? I can't do it anymore. Like I'm getting positions that I forget to close. There are positions that I miss out on my stop because I'm closing my options trade and alerting it. It's that the same reason. It's just too much. I can't do it. If that makes sense, Tybalt. Is there any use of fundamentals in your trades? Crunchy Cookie, for the most part, no, there is not. The only fundamentals I look at is there news today, and what time is it? That way, I can kind of anticipate. Okay, is the market gonna chop before it gets to news? Is it gonna trend? And mostly just so I can be out of a position by the time news hits. So I can trade leading up to it and I can trade the reaction, but that way I don't accidentally hold a position through news. In like days tomorrow, for example, we have interest rate decision in FOMC. That's going to be a really big news day. So I'm kind of prepared for it to be a choppy day. Usually on days like that, the IV for options is going to be very high. So you're not going to get much options movement, but you're also not going to get much decay. So it's going to be mostly, I would assume, a futures day. It's gonna be way better to trade futures tomorrow than options. But yeah, that's the only fundamentals I do is what's the news today? How can I avoid being exposed to risk during that news? And then I'll take a look at the news and be like, okay, the market's like liking the news or hating the news. Let's take a look. What do I think? Small like that. So very minimal. Very, very, very minimal. And I found that news trading is much more destructive than helpful because on TA, I can look at the chart. I know when I'm entering, I know why I'm entering, and I know when that hypothesis is invalidated. So I put my stop loss there and I put my PT wherever I want. The problem with trading news is if I see news, like, you know what? I think home sales are bullish. Where the hell do you put your stop loss? That's my biggest problem with trading news, and that's the difficult thing about swing trading based on news. When's your hypothesis invalidated? You know, okay, I think news is bullish, so I'm gonna get out if SPY drops below 540. Those things aren't like it's not rigid. I mean, it could go to 540 and then go right back up, and it was bullish the whole time. It was just stop loss rates of retail traders that caused that drop. You know what I mean? So there's no clear cut, hey, my hypothesis is invalidated if this happens because I entered on off some fundamental reason. So in short, the problem I've run into is it's if I'm confident and I'm bullish because of news, like housing numbers are good, it's much harder to pull the trigger on a stop loss because it can go back up at any point. And if you think that housing numbers are good, what would your hypothesis be invalidated if, new news comes out and housing numbers are actually negative, you know? So that's why I stay away from that. It's just too conflicting. It doesn't go well with scalping. It goes fine with penny stocks, goes fine with swinging it a little bit, goes great with investing. But as far as day trading, highly volatile intraday things such as futures and 0 day till expiration options, you're just going to run into stop loss issues. So that's why I don't. What platform I use? Thinkorswim, active trader to trade my options. Highly recommend it. Any tips for trading during all-time highs? Seems that's when I get my butt kicked at as no levels. Yeah, Tybolt, I think I have a lesson on that, dude. If you go to the TA course, how to day trade a trending market. So go to the TA course channel, scroll up a little bit, day trading a trending market. There you go. It's a little bit different. You don't have any pivots coming up. You don't have any supply. You don't have fib retracements much. You can use them if it pulls back. All your future levels are going to be speculative, which means they're not going to be as legitimate as previous historically proven pivots. You're going to have to use speculative things such as fib extensions, which I love. But for me, I'm a first leg consolidation, second leg kind of guy. That's how I trade trending markets. I wait for pullbacks, I wait for consolidation, and that's when I strike. Otherwise, you're going to, again, same thing as the fundamental stuff. You're going to buy at high a day because the trend's bullish, and by the time you find out the trend's actually bearish and you're wrong, you're down 80%. So, if that makes sense. Or you can click buttons for your alerts. No, there isn't. I mean, I could, if I really wanted to, link my broker to Discord and then it will just send out my contracts, but that will be hell to follow because there'll be a bunch of contracts going in and out, and not every trade I take I want to alert. It's a big pain. But just hang on, I'm just reading the chat. Okay. But all right. That's pretty much it. So hopefully that review is beneficial for you guys. Looks like price action is doing pretty good. We'll see going into tomorrow. I didn't trade during the Trump administration. I didn't trade much of options during his administration because, I turned 18 in 2020. So it's not like I traded his whole administration. But if it's anything like 2020, we're getting freaking rich. It probably won't be. Like I said, I'm still expecting a recession. No, it's not going to be Trump's fault. They're going to blame it on him. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. The economy is not in a good place right now. And I'm one of the believers that if you're going to solve the problem, keep in mind, solving the problems is different than throwing a band-aid over a bolt hole or kicking the can down the road. To solve the problems, we're going to need some kind of reset. And I'm be surprised if that happens soon. But I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully we get nice volatility, nice trends, and I'm able to capitalize like I was today. But all right, I will see you guys later. Ping me chat if you guys need anything. Have a blessed rest of your night, and I'll let you guys know when this recording is up on YouTube. Again, that's where these reviews are found. And like I said in my options, I don't know if I actually told you guys, but today I was going to do an options review, but I only traded options for like 15 minutes today. I was so tired this morning, stayed up late last night. So I'm going to do my options review tomorrow, and I'm just going to review today's couple of trades that I did in that review. So I'll keep you guys updated on that. But all right, you guys have a blessed rest of your night, and I'll let you guys know when this is posted.